When you begin to sing or you're looking for a teacher, always remember, like I said earlier, the voice is a wind instrument, just like a flute. This is like a reed. If people start to remember, I need to learn how to play my instrument. So if you pick up a guitar, you don't rush off and become the world's greatest jazz musician until you learn about the instrument, how to play. Same with piano. So with the voice, try to remember that it is an instrument and we need to learn how to play it. Sure, you can just stand and sing to your heart's content and do lots of many things that sound wonderful, but you can also lose placement of sound. You can also run out of breath. So remember, the first thing to do when you're looking even for a vocal coach is to remember breathing. If 75% of good singing is good breathing. So when people ask me sometimes, why do I say put the voice on the breath? Because when you hit a note, voice and air and muscle are always equal. Air and muscle always equal. And by that I mean not ha with air in front of a note or ah with muscle in front of a note. When we go I can do this for a little while. We want to make that the foundation of our instrument so that when we increase volume, how do we increase volume? By increasing air and muscle pressure. Now the only way we can do that is when vocal cords know how to resist air. So the next time you're driving your car, put your hand out the window and feel that when you are going slowly. Feel that resistance of air on your hand. Now when you speed the car up, what have you got? You've got more resistance, which is exactly where we get the when we go now we've got air and muscle equal. So when we start at this point and we teach vocal cords to close and come together with the smallest amount of air and muscle, we are constantly bringing them into equilibrium, perfectly lined up, remembering that they're joined inside the larynx in the thicker folds here, and they get thinner as they go to the back, and they're like this, so they've got to close on the back. This muscle back here, I call it the fifth one. Some people say there are six, there are 5 or 6, they're not in agreement on that as yet. So these muscles stretch as we change pitch. So when we go when we change pitch, each muscle is moving through the larynx, the voice box. Some people are not even sure what the larynx is. We're talking inside that as we speak, and you feel that vibration. You can feel the lower notes when you're speaking and you relax. Otherwise, when I speak to you, if all the muscles weren't in play, I'd be going, hi, how are you? What'd you do today? So all the muscles that people are very busy isolating, I hear people asking me, do you want the high larynx, the low larynx, the pharyngeal belt, this belt, that belt? Goodness me, if I had to think that much about how to sing, I'd be pretty scared. That's why I called my book 10 Essential Lessons for Easy Singing. Doesn't mean you do it in 10 weeks. It means I've covered the basics of what I believe is a great foundation for the voice, right up to track 10, which is my staccatos. When you're doing staccatos, what are you doing? Exercising muscles. What do you do at the gym? You exercise muscles, and you certainly don't run in and put 20 kilos of breath straight onto your joint. You start with 5 because you could do some damage. So people today, I know a lot of people personally. For myself, I was belting my voice for 15 years until I got some very big nodules removed from my vocal cords. People say, what are they? Think of a corn on your toe. That's what they felt like. And when you keep smashing your vocal cords to work from these constrictor muscles, that's where we get all the damage of singers today. E, I, and hitting from these muscles, okay? People who choose to move through the fourth muscle and pull it until a rubber band is going to snap, that's where the problem comes from. So if you think about allowing your larynx to be free, we then cross over into head register. Now people call this head voice, they call it all sorts of things, they call it the mixed voice, they call it many, many things. For me, I just call it let's move freely through the muscles and allow the vocal cords to go where they're meant to go, light and easy, not strong and squeezy. Strong and squeezy caused me a lot of problems. Now, when we first start to connect registers, everybody says, Marion, oh, it sounds so different, it sounds so weak, it sounds so terrible. That's because it's not overnight success, it's over time, and that's what's happening today. Everybody wants overnight success. We want the chocolate icing first and the cake later, but it doesn't happen like that when we sing. So if I were to go like this, in my belt, I feel that. I feel like, oh, I feel that energy, right? When I first, after my surgery, when I first started fixing registers, it was like, because the muscle over here was so weak, cords were so thin, nothing happened, and I couldn't get the vibration. And that's why people flick into that head voice like some little gimmick thing that we just use for effect. Nobody wants to do the work to go, this is my head now. And people go, well, how do you do that? It's called practice, and practicing with the right tools. Many people refer to my program as a toolkit. I wished I would have had a toolkit in all the years that I was learning, and the patience. So you can't jump out and book yourself into 15 different gigs and go, now I better learn how to sing. That happens to many professionals that I've come across who say, oh, I've already got this audition, I need to learn how to sing. It's so sad that people don't learn the instrument before they go out and do all these different styles. And if you are learning to copy a singer in a particular style, it's probably going to be the only style you're ever going to sing. What about learning what your instrument can do? What about teaching your vocal cords to absorb breath and balance air and muscle? And by that, I don't mean like that, I mean equal. So when we sing the E, I, O, U, sounds in the roof of your mouth are sitting there, air and muscle are equal. So we've got this point to drive the voice from. We've got a whole range to practice. We learn to stabilize your larynx. So if you love the sound of singers doing low larynx, high larynx, all of these things, my argument is, do you know how to sing in the first place? Because when you start copying people, now you're just another one of those people and possibly doing a lot of damage because your larynx is not stable. So when you swallow and you feel the base of your larynx, that larynx needs to be stable as you sing up and down the scale, or it needs to be, or some people say it moves down slightly. It doesn't matter. If you start pulling it up this way and you want those sounds, you're going to sound like Kermit the Frog. Pardon me, that's the milk I had last night that I wasn't supposed to have. Tell everyone, no dairy. So just remember, when you sing through a scale, feel the freedom and allow your voice to be, and open your mouth. High notes need more space in the back of your throat. So make sure as you sing through a scale, you gradually drop the jaw to the high note and allow the freedom and the space. And you know, my argument about people touring and taxing their bodies and getting so tired and this is what happened to their voices. My argument is, if we think back to opera days, how did people stand in big halls with no microphones, no fallback, and project their voices for hours on end with absolutely no vocal problems? How did that happen? Because the muscles here next to the vocal cords, this is the muscles that are doing the work. Today, I see a lot of work being done from outside. So if you think about constantly hitting your vocal cords from these muscles, what do you think is happening to your vocal cords? They're just getting weaker and tighter, and they're just like, I can't close to make the sound happen because I am so tired from being crushed by all of this stuff. When people stand and let these muscles do their job, the power in a note comes from inside next to the vocal cords, in the voice box. That's why when you sit around going, people go, oh, how come this effortless? Singing is supposed to be easy and it's supposed to be effortless. If you want that energy on top notes that you're going to sound like a belt singer, if you want to sound like you're belting your head register, keep it straight but develop it first. Don't let it be like, don't let it be like that, or people go, oh, you've crossed registers. make sure that you know how to breathe and develop that voice first, so that when you're powering in your songs, people don't know that you are not in your belt. And belt has become a very, very liberal term today. And to me, belting just means smash your vocal cords and people are going to cheer and scream. But guess what? The people that are already out there belting their vocal cords are sometimes already multimillionaires. Young people today have to start and build a career, and so many times they come back to me and say, I'm in the recording studio now, I'm about to record, I'm so swollen, I have no voice. So my argument is that giving you longevity? Voiceology is about longevity of your voice. Do you care about how you are at 15, or do you care about how you sound at 25? I've been through that. I've been through the trauma of surgery and wondering if your voice is ever going to work again, and then dealing with scar tissue, trying to get it soft and pliable, trying to throw your voice. That is a terrifying thought for singers, and it was for me at I think I was 27, 28 years old. It's a very scary thought. So the important thing is, after I retrained myself, I actually had another 30, 40 years of singing with no dramas at all. And I'm talking lots and lots and lots of singing, and never even a tired throat, no laryngitis, no sore throats, nothing like that. So it's very important to understand to have a foundation. And every sport scientist will tell you, tennis players don't run out there and just become natural and end up at Wimbledon. There are certain ways to hold a racket, certain ways to hit a ball. Vocal cords are the same. There is a certain way to apply air and muscle to vocal cords and equalize it. These are just skills involved in making a foundation for the singer. And then the singer can say, now I want to be a rock singer, I want to sing punk, I want to sing jazz, I want to sing opera. These are all styles that people love to sing and the music they love to do. That's not about a foundation for the voice. And anybody that I hear say scales are not important, I just disagree with that wholeheartedly. That's just like saying, and most guitarists who sit around all day, young kids doing this and practicing their scales on guitar so they get better and better at it. That's exactly how this instrument is here. So you leave a voice in its raw, natural state. It could be up the back of the throat. It could be singing through their nose, like twang, which we use a lot in theatre, which is a great way to express theatrical roles. When people sing every day in twang, there's nothing behind your nose that's actually going to throw the sound out there. There's nothing that's going to project. When we move into here, into the roof of the mouth, and open, now we've got projection in those notes. But we don't want to be here doing this. When we can do open up and place it in right behind your front teeth on the hard palate. Very, very important. And they're just things that are just basic skills, so that when a voice is working, it's working freely and opening up gradually with skill and not with brute force. And particularly from the top end coming down, not working on low notes. People say, oh, my friend's working on my low register. In the thick vocal fold. Don't be working on your low register because it's too relaxed and too deep, and sometimes in young people too deep for what they can lose 8 notes up the top purely by pushing and pulling into the thick end of the register. So just be careful where you start practicing, and know that it shouldn't be too low that you've got to be trying to make it work, because already you're going to lose what you can gain up the top. And when you do open the top of a voice up, I've been teaching for 36 years, and so many people say, oh, I've lost 1 or 2 low notes, and I say, how many have you got up the top? Oh, I've got another 8. A few months later they come back and say, oh, my low note's back now. I've actually got even more low notes. And that's why, because now we have the elasticity of how the voice works, just like a rubber band. So practice to your extremities and then sing inside there in your safe zone. And psychologically, you know that's your safe zone.